I'm Brittany Lewis with Forbes Breaking News. Senators Catherine Cortez Masto, Kirsten Gillibrand, and Patty Murray made remarks on their legislation to allow Americans to travel to different states for abortion access. This comes after the Supreme Court's decision last month to overturn Roe v. Wade. The ruling gave states the license to ban abortion and paved the way for abortion to be largely outlawed in likely half of states. Senator Murray claimed Republicans, quote, have denied women control of their own bodies, endangered their health, and put patients in impossible, indefensible situations. Listen in for more.
Right have been working to eliminate the right to choose, and they are succeeding. My colleagues and I are here today because we've been working to protect reproductive health care for women in our states and across the nation. As we feared it would, the Supreme Court in June overruled Roe v. Wade, depriving women of a fundamental constitutional right that they've had for 50 years. Access to abortion immediately became illegal in states across the nation. Right now, in at least 18 states, abortion is either banned or will be within 30 days. 3 more will likely do the same in the coming months, and in others, abortion is under a threat. But opponents of reproductive care aren't stopping there. They're already drafting legislation to ban women from traveling to get critical health care. These women are coming to states like Nevada, where the right to access an abortion is currently protected by state statute thanks to a 1990 referendum. But in states like Missouri and in Texas, legislators are working on bills to target those who help women travel seeking reproductive care, including businesses that offer to fund travel for employees in need of care. And let me just say, in my state, as I was home talking to our healthcare providers, it has had a chilling effect on our healthcare providers as well, who are concerned that these other states that are passing these anti-choice legislation and criminalizing doctors and criminalizing women will reach across state lines and go after the very doctors in my state who legally are there providing these essential services. So these proposals that we see across the states now, where they are going after and criminalizing women and doctors and businesses, they're anti-women, they're anti-business, and quite honestly, they are unconstitutional. They are creating uncertainty for patients, insurers, and employers across the country. American women shouldn't have to wait for the courts to affirm that they have the right to travel for life-saving medical care. That's why we've introduced the bill today, to make it crystal clear that states cannot and must not prosecute women who travel across state lines for reproductive care. Our legislation also protects healthcare providers and anyone who helps women travel for the care they need and deserve, from businesses to taxi drivers to those who answer reproductive care hotlines. The freedom to choose is too important for us to let any anti-choice extremists dictate what health care women receive in this country. So we will keep fighting for reproductive rights for women in Nevada and across the country. And I thank my colleagues for joining me. Senator Murray.
Thank you so much, Senator Cortez Masto and Senator Gillibrand, for being here, and Senator Whitehouse couldn't make it. He is a co-sponsor of this as well. Right now, because of Republicans' truly extreme work to overturn Roe and drag this country back 50 years, tens of millions of women across our country now live in states where abortion has already been banned or is likely to be banned soon. Republicans have ripped away abortion rights and every woman's ability to decide for herself whether or not to keep a pregnancy. They have denied women control over their own bodies, endangered their health, and put patients in impossible, indefensible situations. Republicans are forcing women to give birth no matter their circumstance. They are denying patients the health care that they need and the prescriptions that keep them healthy. And in many cases, they are forcing women to make unforgivable trade-offs, forcing them to drain their savings account, risk their job, and jeopardize their own safety to travel across state lines, as is their right as an American, to get the reproductive care that they need. But as we keep shouting from the rooftops, Republicans' extremism and their cruelty knows no bounds. Some Republican lawmakers have now set their sights on ripping away the right to travel. Let's be really clear about what that means. They want to hold women captive in their own states. They are trying to punish women and anyone who might help them for exercising their constitutional right to travel within our country to get the services they need in another state. I hope everyone really absorbs how extreme and radical and un-American that is. So we're here today to say absolutely not. Our bill is simple. It protects every American's constitutional right to travel across state lines and to travel in order to get or provide a lawful abortion. It prevents states from restricting or impeding Americans' rights to travel and ensures there is legal recourse if a state attempts to restrict that right. It protects healthcare providers who are licensed to provide abortions in the states that they are practicing. And I truly can't imagine how anyone could be opposed to this legislation. Americans have a right to travel within the United States and to get the reproductive care they need, period. End of story. So know this, as Republicans go to the ends of the earth to strip away our constitutional rights, Democrats are fighting back to protect them. Thank you. With that, I'll turn it over to Kirsten Gillibrand.
Well, I want to thank Senator Cortez Masto and Senator Murray for their leadership on this issue and their unwillingness to give up. Today marks 18 days since the Supreme Court took away women's rights to privacy, bodily autonomy, basic constitutional freedoms of human rights and civil rights. And this whole issue is all about control. It's about who controls women. And you don't have to look farther than many right-wing legislators' efforts to ban women from traveling out of state to seek the reproductive care that they need. The right to travel freely across state lines is a constitutional right. It has been in place for decades. It is part of the rights of citizenship. It's part of how we formed our republic. To suggest that women do not have this right to travel is not only un-American, but it's incoherent. And so we have a bill to guarantee this right. Right now, Republican legislators across the country want to limit or ban interstate travel for anyone seeking reproductive care and wants to punish them and anyone who assists them. But there's one thing that we've learned from this Supreme Court. That precedent means nothing to them. It doesn't matter to them that this right to travel has existed in our country for 150 years. It doesn't matter to them that they're undermining this fundamental right that women and people in America have accepted and long counted on. And so right now, we are forced to codify a right that should be and already is enshrined in the Constitution. Because if we don't, there's no telling what this court and these right-wing legislatures across the country will do. I'm proud to join my colleagues here on the Freedom to Travel for Health Act of 2022. It would make clear that any anti-choice state cannot limit the travel of any citizen for any reproductive care. It also empowers the Attorney General and impacted individuals to bring civil actions against any state or person who restrict a woman's right to cross state lines to receive legal reproductive care. We have to act quickly because the longer we wait, the more risk, the more lives will be lost because this fundamental right is being denied.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Happy to take a few questions, if anybody has any. Oh, I'm sorry, right here. Because states, number one, are looking to ban it. We already know that. And it is having a chilling effect based on the states actually working to criminalize doctors, to criminalize women. There is no doubt that I already see it in my state. So that is absolutely a concern for me and all of us to ensure that we're protecting these rights of women to seek the health care when they need it, and healthcare providers, and quite honestly, employers who want to help their employees seek the health care that they need in this country.
Already litigation is being filed in states like Texas, where employers are trying to guarantee these fundamental freedoms to their workforce. And they're going to stay and fight. They're not going to run. They're going to stay, and they're going to make sure that their workforce is protected. We also are having the challenge of states that are going to serve as places where reproductive care can be received, like New York. We want to make sure that they are not in these crosshairs. So it's essential that we guarantee this right, that we call it for a vote, up or down vote. Do you believe in the right to travel? And I dare say, if any person in this chamber votes against the right to travel, woe be to the rest of America, because all of our rights are being eroded.
In the back, Kim.
Yes. Have you reached out to any of your colleagues on the other side of the aisle just to kind of gauge the temperature on how they're feeling towards this legislation? If so, what have they said to you about it?
We'll find out. We introduced it today. We'll be talking to our colleagues. Any of our colleagues, even on the other side of the aisle, if they're interested in joining us, are welcome to join this legislation. Absolutely.
And our staff, I have personally reached out on this issue, and I have not received any bipartisan support yet, but I am going to continue to work on it.
Yep.
Have you talked to Senator Schumer, and when is he going to bring it up? We've got a timeline to this bill to get on the book.
Anyone?
Well, we're going to try and move to this bill on Thursday.
I know Democrats are hoping that the abortion SCOTUS ruling will help to energize voters and bring them out to the ballot box in November. What about the president? Senator Cortez Masto, will you be inviting the president up to campaign with you in Nevada?
Well, first of all, the president's always welcome to Nevada, but let me just say right now, my focus is on, as I run for re-election in my state where I'm third generation, it's about the issues that Nevadans care about. It is kitchen table issues, it is this issue, it is a number of issues that to me are important that I am talking to Nevadans, listening to them, bringing their voices back to Washington like I've always done, and doing the follow-up and still addressing their concerns. This is one of them. But there are others. Just like I've said, the kitchen table issues. I will be continuing to work on behalf of Nevadans to ensure we're addressing their needs.
And just a quick follow-up on the 10-year-old girl in Ohio who had to go to Indiana to get an abortion. So Fox has confirmed that there was a HIPAA violation filed in that case by the hospital against the doctor that happened to leak the story. Do you feel that that story should have been shared nationwide, considering this is a 10-year-old girl? The family probably didn't want that out there.
Well, each case is going to be unique, and let me just say this. I'm in Nevada where we're already seeing women from Texas coming because that horrendous Texas law that pits neighbor against neighbor and puts a bounty by a neighbor against a woman. It's outrageous to me. And I have seen women coming into my state who need assistance to get there. And we should be helping women to get to states, to get to health care where they need it, where states have decided, like my state in 1990, and this is not a partisan issue, this is an important issue for Nevada, that we are pro-choice. We respect a woman's right to reproductive freedom. We trust women, and our doctors, our employers, and the women in our state. We want to make sure we are reaching out and helping others as well, and protecting their rights as they come into the state of Nevada.
This example also puts a very fine point on what the right to privacy is. The reason why the Supreme Court's decision was so offensive is because it said a right to privacy doesn't exist. And Clarence Thomas went so far as to say he wants to unwind all the legislation that's based on a right to privacy, including LGBT equality, including access to contraception. So if you don't have a right to privacy, that would mean these states could track your phone. It means they could ask for the data from any reproductive apps you might be using. It could ask for anything in discovery, any of your private information. So I want the American people to fully understand, if this Supreme Court takes away our right to privacy, it means the right to privacy for everyone. This is not about one medical procedure. This is literally about whether you are an equal citizen under the law, under our Constitution. And for these right-wing legislatures to be going out after this right to travel just underscores they are eliminating all of your rights to privacy. And if you can't travel, and your loved ones can't travel, and your family can't travel to give you life-saving care, then everyone's right to privacy is eliminated. This is much bigger than these justices want us to believe. It is not about a medical procedure. It is about fundamental constitutional rights that are being eliminated one by one, not only by the Supreme Court, but by right-wing legislatures who are trying to augment the ability to control 50% of the U.S. population.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.